Hello YouTube. We got rained out. It's muddy outside. I don't want to get my feet muddy. I will go out to the vise and stuff and work. We're going to make a chipping hammer for welding. This is 12L14. This has lead in it. It's really not meant to be welded on, but it machines very easily. I hate to use this for the handle, but I will if I have to. Have it. I don't want to. I may be able to find something different, but this is 3/4. I thought I might make it head about 5 inches because I want it real pointing like a punch. And then, of course, this will be flat for banging on stuff. I'll just chamfer the edge, but I want it like a punch. And I want to make the head first before I find the center of it, because you don't know how long it's going to be tapered, and you know what I mean. Don't go drill the hole then. So I'm going to choose my length. I'm just going to cut it off with the 4.5-inch grinder. Excuse me. Head stop, take a drink. Rough throat. Said 5 inches. We'll make all the pointy stuff first. And I have my homemade V-block. I'll take a picture when I drill the hole. And this is 3/4, 1/2 inch. It leaves about 1/8 on each side. And we may drill just a hole and put a pit in there, because this stuff drills really easily, especially carbide bits. It is not a hard metal to drill through. I said it is not a super strong metal, so that would be plenty good enough for me, even if you see the pin. And it's not going to be polished to high shine or nothing, but we have like 2 pieces of 9/16, a 5/8, some 3/4 aluminum back here. We ordered this from Online Metals. I don't get paid to show any thing, but just so you know where I got it from. I probably had it laying around more than a year. It's neat. It comes in a cardboard tube you can reuse. See how they do that? Staple all in there. And you can store it in there. So let's get to work. We'll cut this down to 5 inch and we'll start. We'll be using our big belt sander too. We want a really nice tapered point on this. We're going to make it like a long, nice punch, because remember, a pick hammer, you want to get down in places when you want to chip off the flux, because we want to play someday with our little small stick welder, which makes nasty flux, you know, that stuff on there. It ain't like MIG welding. So we need a chipping hammer. One reason is we lost our old one, had like the spring. It is gone somewhere. It's been chopped up and redone. So let's talk more work. We'll be back when we get this cut off, and we'll give you a couple of clips as we're shaping it. I always show up, but there's I hold it in the vise. There's 2 sides, and that gets me out of the vise. If it's hot, I don't want to stop and let it cool down. I want to keep working. It seems like the hotter it is, the easier it grinds. Back to work. Okay, we're going to show you our design idea. Years ago I redid my chipping hammer, and I just did it with 4 points. It makes it very easy to sharpen out in the field. You just take your 4.5-inch grinder 4 times. You know, you're not messing around trying to make something round. Okay, here's the middle of the stock. It's 5 inches. Remember, it's 2.5. Okay, that just don't look right. See that? Well, that's 2 inches. I made a 1/4-inch line back so to center it, so I kind of like that. And you know, I never use that chisel edge on my chipping hammer. I'd always rather have a regular hammer to pound something around. I've never used it. I always chipped the flux and drug it off with this. I never ever used that, because down in the corner of an angle iron or somewhere, this is what I always use. So I've always wanted a hammer, you know, to pound on something, move something around. Yeah, that's just a 1/4-inch back from 2 inch, 1 3/4, right? I'm looking through the viewfinder. I'd say that looks better, because you want a long reach. Remember, you're going to reach down in somewhere, because that don't look right. We want more reach. If you went back another 1/4-inch, that's too far. We're going to go with 2 inch. We're kind of in the center of this part. See what I mean? It's all free-handed. You know, the hardest part's the first two sides is to grind this. This comes off really fast because you've got less metal to grind. Now we're going to take it to our belt sander and try to equal these out. Remember, it does not have to be a perfect tool. It's going to get abused and reground someday with a grinder. So none of these are going to be exactly the same distance back. There you go. That's just an excuse to make a sloppy looking. No, it isn't. You know what I mean? You don't want to have to sit there and do this machine it like a machinist. Good old vice grips. You ever notice the old style, how the metal went around? And the original, made in Nebraska. Got to show them off. I love having them. I use them all the time, my old tools. Back to work. Okay, we took it to the 2-inch belt sander. One of them goes back a little bit further. I'll put that at the bottom. I think it's this one. I'll put it at the bottom so it looks better when you see it like this. You won't notice it's backward. I think we're going to take the flapper just kind of change that because it's kind of hard to do with that little 2-inch belt sander. We don't want to put it on the big one. But see the nice point you get? How easy you get that point? I think you know what I mean. Okay, off to figuring out exactly where I want to drill the hole for the handle. And we are done. We wrapped this with paracord twice. And right where we started, that's where we ended. It doesn't look the greatest. A lot of super glue. It's still a little tacky yet. Here's my little pin in here to hold the handle in. It's epoxied. And that is the drill bit. So the size hole I drilled, I had another old drill bit I epoxied in there. It's not perfectly straight, but it doesn't look too bad. And I like that. I got a regular hammer. Like I said, I never used the chisel point on my other chipping hammer. I always used the pointy part. And I like how I modified that. You can always sharpen it with the file or 4.5 inch grinder. It's easy. You just do 4 sides and you're done. So handle's about 9 inches, and this turned out to be approximately 5, and I can't tell you the measurement where I decided to come in here to make that look, you know, centered. There you go. If you look at it real close, the head's kind of, either way, one side looks straight, the other side don't. Like I said, it's a tool, no one's going to notice, so I'm happy with it. Now I need to get up my stick welder and play with it someday, and I'll have a hammer to chip the flux off. So, thanks for watching.